let's move on because I want to have a look at this. You put up on your Twitter feed today something about Emily Steele. Now, Emily Steele is a fake name. We understand it's a pseudonym, a nom de plume.
That's correct.
And Emily Steele is the 70-year-old who was punched in the face, the victim of a violent assault, without question, at the Posie Parker. I was going to say debate, protest, speech, whatever it was, Albert Park. Now, this footage has come out today. There's a couple of things we're going to show you. Here's the first one. So this footage is of what happened. And I think you'll see that we're going to call her Emily Steele. That's fine. Is down here and engages with the person that ends up hitting her. So if you're watching, oh, there we go. There is some sound to it. They push over. Do you know what I thought when I saw this to start off with? Can I just be honest with you to start with? How now people are going to take this out of context and click it back against me. And I'm not saying the whole protest, but how at the start the crowd was so restrained. One person pushed the thing over. One person walked through it. Everyone else, for a good portion of time, stood back and went, "We're not supposed to do this." And they all stay there. And then the melee kind of started. Look, they all kind of just stay there. They're not really doing anything. Couple wander forward. And then there's one person pulling up things.
See that? Who is that person?
And then some more come through. And then down here, this guy. So this person right here, if you can see it, and I'm pretty sure I've got the right person there, Kelvin. This person is Emily Steele. Emily Steele is stepping forward to confront the person who pushed the wall down. And there's some pushing and shoving going on. And then the assault comes in, and there's the punch there from behind, and the assault that happens.
That's really weird.
What's weird about it, Chewie? What are you saying? But can I just say, sorry to interrupt. Can I just say, look, do you notice how 90% of the people are still back behind the barrier where the barrier was?
Yeah.
Just an observation. Yeah. Sorry, you go, Chewie.
I mean, I saw a lot of the chatter from the people organizing it all on social media, and it was like, these are the spaces that we're going to occupy. We're going to try and keep. The whole idea was to drown them out, and that is such a deliberate move to like kick down the barrier and then walk up and then pull up those stakes as well. It's just like it's so out of all planning. And then I think this guy in the backpack there, I don't know if he's telling her off or what. But yeah, that's really disappointing.
No, I agree, and I think that we said this before. No violence, no nothing. You'll end up hurting the cause. It's not a good idea. And as we've seen on International Wise, Posie Parker's lived off this for a month now, all over the world, on every sort of conservative /right/alt-right broadcast you can, raised a shit ton of money off it, and now, you know, that part of society is looking to Auckland in particular, maybe a little bit to Hobart and maybe a little bit to Melbourne, but Auckland in particular, as see what happens when people just want to talk peacefully. Now, obviously that's a ridiculous argument because that's not what was happening for the speech, but they've given them the narrative to be able to make that argument. So yeah, I agree with you, Chewie. It was very disappointing, and I don't think it's helped the cause at all. Anything you want to mention on that, Kelvin, about that video or anything else?
So she, in her video statement, which we'll jump to in a second, obviously, she claims that within that video, so the video itself, just so everybody knows, it appears on a YouTube channel created in her nom de plume, Emily Steele, specifically for her to release this public statement. It's 7 minutes, 39 seconds long. She waffles quite a bit through it. And there's also some misinformation in there. And in amongst that, she states that she introduces essentially a second perpetrator, where she claims, and I think it's in the clip that I uploaded, that I'm pretty sure I included it as part of the edit, but she alleges that there was a second perpetrator essentially that hit her from behind, and it's
back of the head,
it's that perpetrator apparently that's caused her the most damage. So we saw obviously the image that went viral literally around the world, which is the overhanging shot looking down on her with her black eye. She in the video, she doesn't actually really complain about that. She pretty much only talks about this alleged second perpetrator. So if we watch the video and watch her every move, you will see there is no second perpetrator, either before or during, let alone afterwards.
If you're watching, follow my. If you're listening, get to YouTube. If you're watching, follow my circle. It's in the. She's in the center of the screen there. She's in the center of the screen. There's pushing and shoving. Someone comes in and she falls over, and then that's the person who punches her in the face.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the back of her head the whole time. Definitely no hit in the back of the head. Definitely no. She's standing in the center of the screen, so there's still nothing. There's still nothing. There's still nothing. She's still standing. She's isolated around with people around her now. Now, I want to say something really clearly to people who are watching this, who would be supporting, let's say, the Posie Parker Brigade. I want to make it very, very clear. And if you've watched our show, you'll know this is what we do. We will observe and we will comment. I'm not wanting, because this woman was assaulted, right? There is no question whatsoever, in my mind at least, I'll put myself out there as an individual to start off with, that Emily Steele was assaulted and punched in the face, and there is no excuse for that happening in that moment. Now, we're not having a conversation now to go, give and take, she pushed, he punched, oh well. No. I'm not saying that, and I don't think we're saying that. There was some pushing and then she was assaulted, right? I want to make that really, really clear. We can do that and also say, however, she's saying some things in her video clip which are inaccurate and wrong about what actually happened at the day as well. Both can be true. Is that fair, boys?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's have a look at this. And the other thing I'm not trying to do is because this is kind of a tactic, I think, often of the right, is they will besmirch someone to try and minimize what's happened to them. This woman appears to me, and I'm only saying appears because it's the courts decide this, right? So I'm happy to say appears, even though to me it looks black and white, was assaulted pretty violently by a singular individual, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what would happen with the other side, with the right often, is they'll then find a way to then minimize that and make the person look silly and stupid to kind of push it away. I can't be any clearer about violent, inappropriate, aggressive assault shouldn't have happened. Those words are clear coming out of me. Something else can also be true to find out more about this person who has put herself out there now. This is an important part. No one's gone digging. No one's I haven't even attempted to find out her real name. None of that's happened, right? And we're not going digging and found something and got a leak and this is what she's put on the internet now. And she's put on the internet some things about her and her family life that we're now going to look at. Remember, she's put it on there. We're going to comment on it. We critique the critiquers. We commentate on the commentators. She's put herself in a position as a commentator. We're going to talk about that now. I don't think I can be any fairer, can I, guys? Is that enough kind of clarity to be fair with what we're talking about?
Yep. And it also goes with what we said right from the start, is that no one is minimizing the assault on this woman at all.
No.
I think all of us in the same camp that would rather it didn't happen, because this has given the turf side ammunition to say, look at these violent thugs, when there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people there that weren't.
I would also say, Chewy, that you just said this shouldn't happen because it's given the turfs ammunition. I would just say this shouldn't happen because this is a violent assault. Full stop. No matter what because their narrative is accurate for this singular individual who punched her in the face, right? So I wouldn't even put in, for me, everyone can be different here, but I wouldn't even put an addendum on it about what it's given the other side. I would just stop it. This should not have happened. And if Eliana, the source tipper, is facing charges and is going to possibly be in court to see what they pin out, then there's sure as fuck this person who threw the punch should be as well. Right? Mm-hmm. That's where I stand on this. I'm very clear. And now we're going to have a look at the woman who calls herself Emily Steele, as she's offering some commentary on what went on, and then we're going to commentate on the commentary. So let's play this clip, shall we? This is from Kelvin's Twitter feed.
I'm angry. I am pissed off that a simple women's right meeting discussion
simple
was turned into mob violence. I was on the steps when the security started to take Kelly J out, and I saw that mob surge forward, and I saw her start to fall, and I, along with a lot of other women there, really thought that she was not going to get out of there alive. I wasn't too bothered about myself. I don't feel like a victim. The hit to my eye was spectacular. It really made a good show. But in all honesty, I had the first blow hit me behind the ear on the back of the head, and that was the one that knocked me silly, and that's the one that's given me the concussion, and that's the one that's had the doctors concerned because it stayed swollen for so long, and it is actually still swollen now. But anyway, I am healing. I am going to carry the fight on for the very simple reason that I have 2 granddaughters. Well, I have 3, but 2 in this country. And because of my view, I have been denied contact. And that is what had me screaming out for my friend. Not the smack to the head, not the smack to the face, but the smack to the heart of being told that my views didn't conform properly and that I was no longer allowed to see my grandchildren. To say that my family are woke is really putting a mild view on it. Sorry, I'm going to have to stop.
Right. Now, let's just... I just want to do one thing, because she just described it there slightly differently. And I just want to have a look one more time. She said that the first hit was to the ear in the back of the in the back of the head. So I just want it for fairness and for clarity, have a look again. Right? Just one more time, and then we'll talk about why you just put that up, Kelvin, and what you guys want to say about that. So, again, we're looking at this one more time for people who are listening. We're looking at a footage. So here she comes out. Now, where is the first hit? She's out. There's no hit yet. There's no hit yet. She's fallen down. There's no hit yet. There was a hit there to the face. Yeah, that was to the front. So, look, I guess I don't want to... I don't want to have the appearance of blaming someone who was just an elderly lady who was punched in the face. However, the video doesn't seem to support her account. That's just an observation. Anyway, Kelvin, tell us why you put that up, and tell us what you want to say. Anything more about that?
Excuse me. So, for the record, so I came across this footage early yesterday afternoon on one of the actors' pages. I thought, okay, opened it up, watched the whole thing. Just for clarity, for people that are wondering, one of the first things that's the feedback that came through was, is it actually really? Because obviously the image that I talked about before,
the dark hair,
versus who you see on screen, don't look one and the same. We can't be sure, but it's reasonable to assume she's obviously wearing a wig. As simple as that. So anyway, I watched the whole lot, and then I thought, well, what should and shouldn't I put out there? I wanted to put it out there because she's a person of national interest. Let's face it. She's become the face of the Auckland, New Zealand leg of Posie Parker's worldwide tour, if you will. So I felt that people deserve the need to know what this woman has to say. It's clear that she wants her message put out there. So as I intimated earlier, she set up a separate YouTube channel, or someone's done it for her under her nom de plume. She's recorded it whenever, released it on Sunday, and here we are. It's gone a little bit viral on my Twitter feed, obviously, and then Mr. Bloody Sean Plunkett, of course, picked it up, quote tweeted it with his little comment to me, you really are a nasty piece of work, Kelvin Morgan. To which I just simply responded, no, okay, I'll bite. How's that exactly? To date, there's been no response from him. So he doesn't want to engage with me to obviously have the conversation.
Do you know what's funny there, Kelvin? We're going to show a tweet tonight where Hayden Donald put something up to counteract something he said, and his response to Hayden Donald from RNZ was, he says it to people I think he thinks he can get one over on. He says, happy to have you on the platform and talk anytime. Happy to have you on the platform. Come and talk. Let's debate it. So if he doesn't say that to you, then I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised actually, there's been nothing yet. But in any case, I obviously put the tweet up, but what I did for the first time ever was I limited comments because I thought this is just going to invite all the trolls, and given what Chewy and I had dealt with weeks ago over a whole weekend, I thought I'm not having it. I'm not having it. So initially, some conversation started appearing on the thread, and that was fine. A little bit of debate, but I should point out, and anyone's obviously free to go and have a look if you haven't already, but the thread is mostly full of people condemning the punch to the face. There's no question about that, and I wholeheartedly agree. But the minute that Plunkett quote tweeted it, all hell broke loose. And so I've been battling again, although I haven't responded to absolutely everyone, but it's been full of the usual bullshit. Top of the list, you're a coward, you're a misogynist. There was a couple of people.
Have you had pedo yet? Because that came up last time a few times, didn't it? We had that.
No,
yet?
I haven't actually. But I have had the magic question asked, which is, what is a woman?
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Hey,
So-
let me just say something else. I mean, you're saying that people can go look for themselves. I think that's great, and they should. Also, I want to make it really clear. I don't know. I mean, it didn't appear to me like she was hit first, but there are other people saying she was hit, and that made her fall. Have another look. It was a forearm jab. John says, "Yep, hit first behind the ear. I think it's plausible. Fine, I accept that. I'm not it was a grainy image. I could be wrong. I just want to put that out there as well. Didn't look it to me, but I'm not going to die on that hill. No problems at all." Rob says, appears to be punched because she was shoving someone else. If tomato juice is assault, surely shoving someone is assault. I would agree with that as well, as does Vicky as well. So we're not going to die on the hill of was she hit first or second. Did she get hit twice or one time? Yeah, because we're just not. I was wondering though as well, and I know this has come up with Posie Parker, and I'd be interested for you two guys to weigh into this. The people who are in the Posie Parker camp, there is a very high percentage of people in that camp who are from England. Now, English accent, talking about grandkids overseas. Is there any connection there? I mean, I know it might mean nothing, and people can have those opinions from anywhere in the world. Is it just coincidental that there's another English woman who seems to be in, a lot of English women? There seems to be a disproportionate number who are in the Posie Parker camp who are English women. Is there any thoughts around that?
What I can tell you about the YouTube video itself is I have had a look at the comments, and there are a few in there originating out of England. In terms of over here on Plunkett's feed, there doesn't appear to be anything from the UK at this point. I've had a look at various Twitter profiles and bits and pieces, particularly with some of the real nasty turfs having a go at me, and they all appear to originate from New Zealand. So I don't think she may not necessarily be aware of it, because I did check Posie Parker's account earlier on, and there's no mention of this statement as of yet. But you can be guaranteed at some point it probably will be sent to her or whatever, and here we go again, pretty much. But there are, I think we need to address the infactual stuff that she's stated, because she does.
Go for it.
She does say a couple of things which are, I feel, are clearly incorrect. So the hit to the back of the ear, although the gentleman just said before that's entirely plausible, because there is a moment, I think, within that footage where she sort of hovers around the front of somebody, and momentarily we don't get to see what happens, but it doesn't appear that there's any fisticuffs going on at that point. Should also point out as well that nobody's saying that I'm certainly not saying that she's lying on that particular thing, because the reality is that footage is only it's less than a minute, and it could well have stretched on, and she could have got hit from behind after the fact, if you know what I mean. And we haven't obviously seen that, so we have to take a word from it. But based on the footage that is available, obviously that didn't happen. You'll also remember she said in there that she was sitting on the steps. So she kind of intimates that when all of this went down, she was sitting on the steps. When Posie was being led away, fell down. That is completely infactual. Posie Parker never hit the deck whatsoever. It's a lie. It's widely been bandied about on Twitter and Facebook, but is outright disinformation, not correct. She she was led out of there. And she never fell, not once. Even she herself has stated that she felt the most fear about actually falling. Thank God I didn't fall, etc., etc. This woman is basically saying that she fell. It's incorrect. So that hurts her credibility.
It does. Look, can I ask one other question? It's more of an opinion-based question for you two. I'm just going to bring up the image again. How does someone get to a point where their devotion to a ideology in their mind is ranked more highly than family? Because obviously, and I guess we see it through all sorts of religions and stuff as well, you know, obviously there is someone in, what are we calling her? Emily Steele's life, a son or a daughter who thinks that having their children interacting with Emily Steele is going to be unhealthy for the children. So therefore, Emily Steele is picking this ideology. She's actively picking, let's just say Posie Parker, but the Posie Parker ideology over her grandkids. I mean, it's not necessarily about this, but do you guys have any commentary on that as to how someone can get to the point where, you know, ideology, religion, you know, thoughts, you know, becomes more important than your grandkids?
It's gutting. The moment that she said that, it's like, well, there is no doubt that this is causing you great emotional pain. But it's you know, we talk about people going down the rabbit hole. It's just a little bit further. It's just a little bit further. It's just a little bit around the corner. And at some point, you can't find your way back. And you know, I think there's a lot of families out there that get to this over various sort of things. It doesn't have to be COVID. It doesn't have to be turf or anything like that. There can be family disagreements. But at one point, it starts with a choice and it continues with a choice. And she has chosen this over her family because of how much she believes that it's important. And I can't get there, but you can definitely see that it is causing her emotional harm. It's sad.
There's no other way to describe it. I personally think there's a lot more to it. I don't think she's necessarily just down the Posie Parker rabbit hole and that whole argument. I think there's quite possibly far more to it. Like, you know, it wouldn't surprise me, and it's just pure speculation, people. But it wouldn't surprise me to hear that she's down with VFF and, you know, all that kind of rhetoric and carry on and blah blah blah. So, you know, that's one of the main things that I've been accused of, and I think that's where Plunkett's coming from, in terms of his little stab at me. You know, as in, I'm sure he actually wanted to say, you fucking piece of shit for doxing her like that. I'm like, well. And I've had a lot of that on his threads where it's open slather, obviously. And I have responded to a few people and said, look, you know, the parents of those children wouldn't have taken that decision lightly. Put yourself in their bloody shoes. I mean, imagine having to make that call on your own mother, for God's sake, and father. I mean, that is not okay. At the end of the day, you know, the best interest of the children always come first. It really is as simple as that. So it's not about you and it's not about me and da-da-da. It's what's best for them. If the parents are in charge of making that decision, well, it is what it is. I mean, I even had Ted Johnson today have a crack at me about it, you know. I'm just like, I haven't even responded to him. I don't even know if I can be bothered. You know, I can't remember the word he used. But he's not impressed that the parents have taken this tack, to put it that way.